In the last two videos, we talked about Buddhism as a religion, and then we talked about Buddhism as a philosophy, and now in this topic 3, we are going to talk about Buddhism as a psychology. So when we talk about psychology, we have to understand what it really means, psychology. The word derived from the Latin word psyche, which means spirit or soul, or logio means study. So it was the study of soul or spirit. But over the times, scientists tried to find the soul or spirit, but they couldn't find any kinds of soul or spirit. So they finally name it as a study of mind or human character. That means psychology began the study of the human characters, human behavior. So one thing we need to understand, that the job of the psychologist is to bring the abnormal person to the normal persons. But however, according to the Buddha, he wanted to bring the normal to the abnormal level. That means, as a normal, you always have kinds of experiencing pleasant or unpleasant. That means we also have kinds of problem as a common persons. That means this is why Buddha tried to bring the normal life to the supernormal. That means complete eradication of any kinds of problems and attain to the highest happiness. So this is the differences between the job of the psychologist and the Buddhas in Buddhism. Generally, we are organisms in these environments. That means we are always experiencing the environment through our 5 senses. Times of whether pleasant or unpleasant, happy or unhappy, as a kind of organism we are always experiencing all the times. Therefore, we are all kinds of beings. Like if we refer to that, we are also part of the animal consciousness. Whether we can see the common things between the human beings and animals. We have 4 common things: eating, sleeping, self-protections, and sensual pleasures. These 4 things are common between human beings and animals. But only thing that differentiates between the human beings and animals, this is the thinking process, the mind. Human beings have the ability to think and analyze his own existence as well as others. That means human beings have the ability to realize what is good and what is bad, which is we refer as a dharma. Dharma is the main thing the human beings have other than others animals. So over the millions of years, human brains have been developed into 3 parts. Scientists have discovered 3 human categorizations of human brains. First is the kinds of brain stem. Brain stem is a process of the human organisms. That means heartbeats, respirations, and all the physiological functions of our body without our thinking. So brainstem functions all these kinds of process. And second is the limbic systems. Limbic systems is a kinds of processes of physiological functions such as memory and kinds of informations and all the unconscious emotional process that arises of the human mind. That means it is the unconscious process of our brains, emotions like anger, hate, and passions. All these are parts of the limbic systems. And the third is the cerebral cortex. It is the functions of the human critical decisions, plan making, and all the things we usually decide for the futures. We generally have the planning of how to solve all kinds of problems. The decision making is a part of the cerebral cortex. It defines the human main functions of all what is good and what is bad. So this is the three processes. First is the brain stems, second is the limbic systems, and the third is that cerebral cortex. So when we talk about in Buddhism, so we have three parts of the mind, which is called perceptions and citta and mano. Vijnana is a part of the perceptions. It is the activities of the senses. That means what we see through the senses, and we bring to our minds. What we see, we absorb through the senses, and it sends messages to the brain, and that is called mano. That means what we perceive, it's part of this vijnana, and what we perceive, we give meaning according to our understandings. This is the mano. This is the thinking process, rational process. And according to we give meaning what we have seen, heard, or taste, or touch, smell. We think through the mano, and we react to according to we think what we see, whether pleasant or unpleasant. This is called the citta. This is become an emotional part. Citta is the reacting of how we think about what we have seen. So perception, vijnana, is the activity of our senses and what we have see, and then we bring it through our nervous systems, and it sends message to our brain, and we interpret it, we analyze and understand what we have seen, and then we react emotionally. This is the citta. So this is the three things, what we see, this is the vijnana, and what we think is a mano, and how we react what we think, this is the citta. So generally we have two ways of looking at things: subjective process and objective process. Subjective process is what I see, and objective process, the objects what I see. That means if I say subjective, this is I am, and objective process is what I see. So what I see is become to the external process, and I am, it became a personalizations. So this is the two things of looking at ways. In this between, it is only the experience which is called vinyana, chakhu vinyana, sota vinyana, ghana vinyana, jiva vinyana. This is the kinds of experience we have. We differentiate between subjective and objective. In short, there is neither subjective nor objective. There is only experience of pleasant or unpleasant. There is only changing. Experience means arising and cessation. We experience only between the arises and cessations. This is the only two things when we talk about experiences. So what I am, it become a subjective process, and what I see is an objective process. In this between, there is only experience of impermanent, suffering, and non-selves. This is the three things we experience. So that means we cannot say there is mind or matter. There is only, we have ways of experiencing the things. So guys, this is the way when we talk about psychology, means to understand between the subjective and objective process. That means there is nothing I can personalize the thing. There is only experience in the world of arising and cessations. So good luck.